Ladies, let me let you in on a secret. Most women believe men only notice the obvious: looks, curves, maybe the way you dress. But that's not the truth. What men actually notice runs so much deeper, and it's often the little things you think go unseen that leave the greatest impression. The truth is, a man's heart and mind are paying attention in ways you'd never expect. And today, I'm going to reveal 7 powerful things men notice about women that most women have absolutely no idea about. When I talk about confidence, I'm not talking about being the loudest person in the room or walking around with your chest puffed out like you own the place. Confidence is much quieter than that, but it's far more powerful. It's the way you move through a room without needing to announce yourself. It's in your posture, the way you hold your head up, the calmness in your stride. And I'll tell you something, men notice that. Even when you think no one's paying attention, they are. A man might not even be able to put it into words, but he feels it. He senses it. That quiet, subtle confidence leaves an impression that lasts longer than anything you could say. Here's the part most women don't realize. Confidence shows up in the smallest moments. It's not just in how you dress or how you talk, it's in how you carry yourself when you think no one is watching. When you walk into a room and you're not scrambling to shrink yourself down, not apologizing for taking up space, not looking around for validation, it speaks louder than anything. A man sees that. He might not always compliment you on it directly, but it resonates with him deeply. It makes him think, she knows who she is. She knows her worth. And that is magnetic. Sometimes women confuse confidence with perfection. They think, if I don't look flawless, if I don't have the perfect hair, if I don't say the perfect thing, then he won't notice me. But that's not the truth. What men notice is not perfection. It's assurance. It's the energy that says, I don't have to prove anything to anyone because I already know what I bring to the table. That is what captures attention. A man isn't moved by someone trying too hard to impress him. He's moved by the woman who doesn't need to try at all because she's simply being herself. And you know where this confidence really shows up? In how you handle the moments that could easily throw you off balance. Imagine you trip a little walking into a room. Do you laugh it off and keep going, or do you shrink into embarrassment, hoping no one noticed? Believe me, men notice which one you choose. When you can laugh at yourself, when you can own your imperfections instead of being owned by them, that's confidence. It's not about never stumbling. It's about how you recover. Another thing, confidence isn't about how much attention you get. It's about how comfortable you are when you're not the center of it. Men see the difference between someone who's desperate to be seen and someone who's content in their own skin. The woman who doesn't need to constantly prove her value is the one who naturally draws respect. It's almost paradoxical. The less you try to be noticed, the more unforgettable you become. Think about the way you walk into a meeting, a classroom, a social gathering. Are you scanning the room for who might be judging you? Or do you walk in already knowing that no matter who's there, you still belong? Men notice that inner steadiness. It's not arrogance, it's not pride, it's presence. And presence is powerful. Confidence also shows up in your voice. Not just the words you speak, but the way you speak them. Do you rush your words, hoping to be heard before someone cuts you off? Or do you take your time, trusting that what you have to say is worth listening to? Men catch that difference. They notice the calm strength in someone who doesn't force attention, but earns it by simply owning their voice. So understand this. Confidence is not about trying to impress men. It's about knowing who you are and standing firmly in that truth. The beauty of it is, once you embrace that confidence for yourself, men can't help but notice it. It leaves an imprint, not because you're shouting it, but because you're living it. And that quiet confidence is what makes you unforgettable. What a lot of women don't realize is that men are always watching how you treat people. Not just them, not just your friends, but everyone. It's easy to be polite when you're on a date. When the setting feels important, or when you're trying to make a good impression. But men notice how you interact with the people who can't give you anything in return. The waiter bringing your food, the cashier at the grocery store, the person holding the door on your way in. Those small interactions reveal more about your character than anything you could tell him about yourself. It's the way you smile and say thank you, even if the service wasn't perfect. It's the way you show patience when things don't go your way. It's the way you acknowledge someone who others might ignore. That's when a man pays attention, because in those moments, he's not just seeing how you treat a stranger, he's seeing a preview of how you'll treat him in the long run. If you can't offer kindness to someone who has no influence over your life, what happens when the excitement wears off in a relationship? Men connect those dots, even if they don't say it out loud. See, respect is contagious. The way you show it in little moments echoes into bigger ones. When you say please and thank you, when you notice someone's effort, when you don't belittle or brush people off, that stands out. Men pick up on whether you carry yourself with entitlement or with gratitude. And gratitude is magnetic. It's not just about kindness either. It's about consistency. Do you only treat people well when someone's watching? Or is it part of who you are, no matter the situation? Men can see through the performance. They notice when it's genuine. And nothing is more powerful than the kind of woman who treats everyone with respect, not because she has to, but because it's simply who she is. And think about this. Life is going to throw you and the man you're with into all kinds of situations. You're going to face stress, mistakes, inconveniences, moments when things fall apart. Men watch how you respond when the world isn't serving you the way you wanted. Do you lash out? Do you make someone else pay for it? Or do you choose patience, grace, and calm? Those moments reveal the kind of partner you'll be when real challenges hit. That's why men notice, even in the smallest encounters, because those encounters reflect how you navigate the bigger picture. I'll give you an example. Imagine you're out at a restaurant. The waiter forgets your drink. He comes back late, looking overwhelmed. What happens next says a lot more about you than you think. Do you roll your eyes, snap at him, make him feel smaller? Or do you offer patience, maybe even encouragement? Believe me, a man sitting across from you is paying attention. He's watching to see if your words build or break, if your attitude lifts or crushes. That tells him more about your heart than anything you could share in a conversation. Men aren't just noticing how you treat strangers, they're also paying attention to how you treat the people closest to you. Your family, your friends, even yourself. Do you speak about others with respect, or do you constantly tear people down when they're not around? Do you extend grace to the people you love, or do you keep score of every little mistake? The way you handle relationships in your circle gives a man a clear picture of how you'll handle a relationship with him. So, many people think attraction is just about looks or charm, but the truth is, attraction grows when respect and kindness are present. Men remember the way you make people feel, because that's the energy they'll carry into a life with you. And that's why the way you treat others is never invisible. It leaves a lasting mark that says more about you than any first impression ever could. One of the most overlooked things women don't realize men notice is their laugh. Not the perfectly timed smile you give when you're trying to be polite, but that real, unguarded laugh that escapes when you're caught off guard or when something genuinely moves you. Men notice that because there's something deeply magnetic about a woman's joy when it's authentic. It lights up more than just your face. It changes the whole energy of a moment. And here's the truth. A man remembers how you made him feel, and nothing makes a man feel more alive than being around someone who knows how to enjoy life. When you laugh, when you let yourself be free in that moment, it tells him something about you without you having to explain a single word. It says you're not weighed down by trying to control every detail. You're not so guarded that you can't enjoy the present. It shows you know how to let go and just be. And that's rare. That's why it stands out. Men notice when you don't force it, when it's not rehearsed or put on for show, but when it's genuine and effortless. And here's what makes it even more powerful. Your laugh isn't just sound, it's connection. When you share it, it creates space for him to relax too. Men often feel pressure to perform, to keep things smooth, to make sure you're impressed. But when they see you laugh, when they see joy come out of you naturally, it reassures them. It tells them they don't have to be perfect. They just have to be real with you. That's a deeper kind of attraction than anything surface level. It's not just about laughter either, it's about joy. The sparkle in your eyes when you talk about something you love, the excitement in your voice when you share a passion, the way you light up when you're in your element. Men notice those things. They're paying attention to what makes you come alive because that energy is contagious. They see the difference between someone who's pretending to be happy and someone who truly has peace and passion inside them. And believe me, the latter always stands out. Think about this. Life isn't always going to be glamorous. There will be ordinary days, stressful days, days when things don't go as planned. Men watch how you carry joy into those moments. Do you find reasons to smile even when the situation isn't perfect? Or do you let the weight of life dim your spirit? It's not about being happy all the time. That's not realistic. But it's about having a heart that looks for light even in the shadows. That resilience, that ability to still find joy, is something men quietly admire. What makes it even more interesting is that your laughter often shows a side of you that nothing else can. It's raw, it's unfiltered, and it can't be faked. It shows your softness, your playfulness, your humanity. And that's what men remember. Not the practiced smiles, not the polite chuckles, but that laugh that catches even you by surprise. That moment when your guard is completely down and the world gets to see the real you. That's the moment that stays with him long after the night is over. So many women think they need to impress a man with perfection, flawless looks, perfect words, controlled behavior. But what men truly notice are those imperfect, authentic glimpses of who you are. And nothing reveals that more beautifully than your laugh, your joy, your ability to be present in the moment. Because at the end of the day, men don't just fall in love with how you look. They fall in love with how you make them feel. And nothing feels better than being around a woman whose laughter reminds them what it means to be alive. One of the things women often underestimate is how much men notice their ambition and drive. And I'm not just talking about career success or financial goals, though those can be part of it. I'm talking about that fire inside you, the determination to pursue something meaningful, to push yourself forward, to not settle for a life of just existing. Men see that, even if you think it goes unnoticed, even if you think no one cares about your hustle or your late nights studying, working, creating. Believe me, men do. They admire it because it reveals something deeper about who you are. Ambition is attractive not because of what it produces, but because of what it says about your mindset. It says you're someone who has vision, someone who refuses to live life on autopilot. Men notice the way your eyes light up when you talk about what you're working toward. They hear the passion in your voice when you share your dreams, no matter how big or small. That energy is magnetic because it shows you're not waiting for life to happen. You're shaping it with your own hands. Here's the truth: men respect a woman who has her own lane, a woman who doesn't just cling to his world, but who's building her own. It doesn't matter if it's a career, a creative pursuit, personal growth, or even being dedicated to health or family. What matters is that you're striving towards something that matters to you. That drive makes you stand out because it shows you carry purpose. And purpose is powerful. It's not about competing with men, and it's not about proving yourself either. It's about showing that you understand your own value and that you're willing to invest in it. A man will look at that and think, she's not just here to follow, she's here to grow, to lead, to create. That's inspiring, and it makes him want to rise higher too. The best relationships are when two people fuel each other, When your ambition doesn't intimidate him, but motivates him to be better alongside you. Men also notice how you treat your goals. Do you just talk about them, or do you actually take steps toward them? Do you keep your word to yourself? That consistency is powerful. It shows that you don't just dream, you follow through. And following through is one of the most attractive qualities you can have because it reflects discipline, resilience, and character. And ambition doesn't have to look flashy. It doesn't mean you're chasing fame or fortune. Sometimes ambition is in the quiet things. The mom who works hard to create a better future for her kids. The student who stays up an extra hour to finish her work. The woman who commits to becoming the best version of herself, even when no one is watching. Men notice that. They respect it because it shows strength. It shows that your value isn't just in what you look like. It's in what you're building, in the direction you're moving. What's even more important is how ambition shapes the way you carry yourself. A woman with drive doesn't beg for validation because her sense of worth isn't tied to someone else's approval. She knows where she's going, and whether someone joins her or not, she's still moving. Men notice that kind of independence. They see the confidence it carries, the freedom in it. It's not arrogance, it's assurance. And that's unforgettable. So never downplay your goals. Never shrink your dreams thinking they'll intimidate someone. Because the right man won't be threatened by your ambition. He'll be drawn to it. He'll notice it, he'll respect it, and it'll make him see you as more than just someone to be with, but as someone to build with. And that kind of admiration doesn't fade, because once a man sees the fire in you, it leaves a mark he can't forget. What most women don't realize is that men notice how you handle pressure and adversity. It's one thing to shine when everything is going right, when life is smooth and easy, but it's a completely different thing to show strength and grace when life throws you off balance. Men pay attention to that. They see the way you respond when plans fall apart, when stress piles up, when things don't go the way you wanted. Those moments speak louder than the perfect ones, because that's when your true character shows. It's not about being flawless under pressure. Nobody expects that. It's about whether you can hold yourself with composure when the weight is heavy. Men notice if you crumble at the first sign of difficulty, or if you take a deep breath and keep moving forward. Even in small situations, like when traffic makes you late or when an unexpected problem shows up in your day, your reaction tells him something about who you are. Are you quick to lose your temper, or do you find a way to stay calm? That difference matters more than you think. And here's something important. Handling adversity doesn't mean you never break down or never feel the weight of it. It means you don't let the struggle define you. Men respect the woman who can be honest about her challenges, who can say, "This is hard, but I'm not giving up." That kind of resilience is powerful. It shows a strength that's deeper than appearance. It's a strength of spirit. Life is unpredictable, and relationships will face storms. Men know this, which is why they quietly watch how you weather yours. They're not looking for perfection, they're looking for endurance. They notice if you blame everyone else when things fall apart, or if you step up and own what you can control. They notice if you shut down completely, or if you choose to keep pushing forward with hope. Those choices, in the hard times, leave a lasting impression. Even your silence under pressure says something. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do in a moment of adversity is not to overreact, not to let emotions take over, but to stay steady. Men see that, and it creates a sense of respect, because steadiness is rare. It doesn't mean you don't feel deeply. It means you've learned how to manage yourself even when the situation feels bigger than you. And don't think for a second that only the big storms count. Men notice the little things too. How you handle being stuck in a long line. How you respond when your phone dies at the worst possible moment. How you treat yourself when you make a mistake. Do you spiral into negativity, or do you give yourself grace and move forward? Those small reactions tell him a bigger story about how you'll face the larger storms later. The truth is, resilience is magnetic. It shows that you are not defined by what happens to you, but by how you rise after it. And that's what men respect the most, the rise. They notice when you bend but don't break, when you stumble but still get up, when you face pressure but refuse to let it steal your peace. That kind of strength doesn't just inspire, it earns lasting admiration. Because in the end, what stays in a man's mind is not how you looked in your best moment, but how you carried yourself in your hardest. What men notice more than anything else, often without even realizing it, is authenticity. When you strip away the layers of performance, the need to impress, the masks you wear to fit in, what's left is the real you. And that's the version of you that leaves a mark. Men may be drawn at first by appearance, by style, by the way you carry yourself, but what holds their attention is when they get to see the woman who isn't afraid to just be herself. That authenticity is rare, and because it's rare, it's unforgettable. You don't have to try so hard to be perfect. In fact, it's often the imperfections that make you stand out. Men notice the quirks, the way you get excited about something small, the little habits you think no one pays attention to, the unpolished moments where you're simply real. They notice when you're not trying to play a role, but instead living in your truth. And believe me, they can feel the difference between a woman who's putting on a show and one who's simply comfortable in her own skin. Authenticity shows up in honesty. It's not about oversharing or telling everything about yourself right away. It's about being genuine with what you do share. Men notice if you're